Hello and welcome to Sun Spotlight. I am your host, Charisma, grateful to be back for another episode. In addition to these interviews that I do every Thursday at noon, I also write a weekly column for the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, which you can read on newsstands every Friday. You can also check us out online at www.philasun.com and be sure to follow the Philadelphia Sunday Sun on all social media platforms. Today, I am so excited to be speaking with not one, but two of the incredible talents behind Peacock's Bel-Air. It is my pleasure to welcome to Sun Spotlight Jabari Banks, who plays Will Smith on Bel-Air, and Morgan Cooper, who is the writer and director of Bel-Air. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. Thank you. This is great.
Pleasure. Jabari, we're kind of having a full circle moment because my brother is the one that did the mural of you at the airport.
No lie. That's crazy, yo. He did a great job. Yo, we touched down and we were looking for it, but we heard it was in Terminal E. We were in the wrong terminal.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm definitely going to go see it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was so excited. I told him, I was like, guess who I'm interviewing today?
And that's really wild. Tell him he did an amazing job.
I will. Yeah. And speaking of amazing job, the show is phenomenal, guys. Like, it's so good.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Thank you so much.
Jabari, what does it feel like for you to be playing such an iconic character that's really spanned generations?
I mean, it is an immeasurable amount of pressure, but I don't feel any of it. You know what I mean? I'm just grateful to be in this position, and grateful to be able to pay it forward someday to, another kid that looks like me, the same way that, Will did to Morgan, and then Morgan did to me, you know what I mean? And trusting someone in a vision, it's just, it's an amazing opportunity. It's once in a lifetime, and I'll never take it for granted.
That's amazing. Yeah. And Morgan, for you, especially because of how this all kind of came together, I think it's so cool that you got a concept, shot the trailer, and then all of this incredible, how does that even happen? So can you talk about just that process and kind of how surreal it is?
Yeah, it's interesting. When the idea hit me, I knew it was something so special, and something that, I don't know, for me, it always just starts with passion. You know what I mean? I always say, keep the same energy, no matter what the idea is. And this just happened to be the idea that landed on my heart. And I knew it was something I had to make happen. And so, in terms of the pressure of it, I love pressure. You know what I mean? I love pressure. I want that responsibility. I knew the responsibility of taking on a project this magnitude and creating something, that is so beloved in terms of like the IP, and you know what I mean, but I wanted that responsibility from the start. And so for me, it was just all about expressing from an honest place, surrounding myself with other brilliant minds. And when you do that, how can you go wrong, especially once again when you're sincere in your endeavor to create the project. So
yeah. And what does it feel like to have the support of Will Smith behind the show? Like, that has to be amazing.
And that's just the cherry on top, for real. Like, that's just amazing, right? It's the fact that he's co-signed Morgan's vision, saw it all the way through to this, and he's backed us throughout this whole process, and he keeps pushing us on his page, full support. That's amazing. That's all you could ask for. And the Smith family loves it. They support us 100%. Shit, it's good. You can't really you don't get better than that. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
he's the best. He's just the best guy too. That's the thing about Will, is like, there's Will, as we grew up with him. Like, he's a hero to us. Like, he truly is a Black hero in every sense of the word. And has paved so many paths. And when you meet him, I'm telling you, the most sincere human being. And he's so generous with wisdom. I mean, he's not the type of person. He's like, no, he'll give you the game. He'll give you the real. And I can't say enough, just in terms of having his support since day one of this vision, really meant the world to me. And it still does. And to see his connection with Jabari, taking shape, and their bond is so incredibly special. And can't say enough about Will. Big shout out, Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many aspects of the show that I really enjoy, but I think part of me really enjoys the reimagining of the show because you get all of the elements of the original show, but you also get it like present day, real life. You get that extra element added to it. So what was it like for you just in terms of like taking the concepts that we all know and love from the original show and creating this new concept with it?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was, I don't know, like we didn't want to make something that felt like it was contingent on what they did 30 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's a really dangerous way to create, is like when you feel bound to something. It's like all of the nods and stuff that we did, you know, for the sitcom were all very, very organic. There was never a formulaic, oh, like we have to write to this because this happened. It's like, no. Like when it feels right and it's organic and it's fly and it's got that energy, let's do it. Let's have fun with the art. But we never wanted to put a box on what we were making, and because that's a reboot. You can't reboot the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You can't do it.
You really can't.
That would have been really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo, there was one point we was talking to some reporter. She was like, so you gonna do the Fresh Prince theme song, but it's like trap? I'm like, nah, like no one wants that shit.
Ever.
No one wants that shit. Like
that's the Hollywood way of doing it.
Exactly.
This idea wasn't born in a Hollywood studio. It wasn't. You know, this was born at a grassroots level. And I think people feel that intentionality of let's just make something that's honest and honor the spirit of these characters. We're going to do our own thing. We're going to carve our own path with how we tell these stories, with how we craft this story visually. We're not going to be bound to what they did. And what they did, to be clear, was iconic. It was lightning in a bottle. It's timeless. And it stands on its own. And I hope at the very end, you know, when it's all said and done, we've got a show where people will be able to say the same thing about our show.
Well, I mean, you guys came out swinging, like from the first.
That was hard.
Really did. Like from the first moment the show starts with first things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. I was like, really, y'all? Like that's how we're starting.
Right.
Like it got me like hyper because I'm like, oh, this is how we're starting the show. Then it's gonna be like. It's just
It'll be just fine.
Right.
Yeah. Just fine.
And like when you see that, it's like, wait, what other way could you start it? That's like, damn, like that's just the culture right there. Like we all know that song, first things first, like before we say anything. You know what I mean? That's so it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It all fit together so organically. It was never a forced moment, you know what I mean? Within the creation.
And then also just other moments where you paid homage in the show where like, I remember the one scene you were talking to Hillary and she refers to you as the Fresh Prince. And then there's another scene where you're talking, you're like, oh yeah, I got in a little fight. My mom got scared. It's like, so you're paying homage to the original, but doing it in a very unique way. So I just thought that was super dope. And the casting is amazing. Can you talk about what it's like to work with such incredible actors, Jabari?
I learn something new every day. I wake up and I'm like, this is a new adventure every day. It's like, I'm going to highlight someone right now, Cassie Freeman, Cassandra Freeman.
She is amazing.
Special, yo. She's really special. And like her energy, like when we say cut, like totally different, but it's so interesting to see how she drops into Aunt Viv. Like it's God. It's sickening. It's crazy. It's insane. Cause it's like, you were just a whole different person. And now you're really this like, and not that she's not like elegant and like, you know what I mean? But she takes on this whole tone when she's, you know, with Aunt Viv. I'm like, it's really insane to see. And so I really admire that. But, you know, there's something about everybody that I admire throughout this whole cast. They're such a special cast and we've all truly bonded. Like they all just went out last night together for Jordan's birthday. And I was mad, I was sick. I'm here, but I'm glad I'm here. But, you know, they're all having fun together. But, you know, like, it's like, it's really special. And I'm grateful that this is my first experience with a cast that's so loving and just took me in with open arms. I've heard that, you know, it's not the same in other places, you know what I mean? And you know, some sets can be cold, but our set was really warm. And when it comes down to our crew and everything, you know what I mean? There was so much love. Like we have a trailer, we call it the love trailer. And it's the makeup and we got all the aunties in there. You know what I mean? It's beautiful. It's just like you go there every day and I just look forward to seeing everybody. And so the team that poured love into this project, how could we not get love back? You know what I mean? Yeah.
I had the pleasure of meeting Cassie years and years ago, and she was just very warm and kind. And so seeing her as Aunt Viv, I was like, yes, this casting is amazing. It was great.
Yeah.
One of the other aspects of the show that I really like is I feel like you really do touch on a lot of things that happen in our culture and some of the conversations that we have kind of privately that other people aren't always privy to. And with that, I mean just some of the concepts in terms of selling out and this kind of forced idea that Black people can acquire a certain level of wealth. And if you do, like, are you still connected to, you know, who you are as a person and your community and not forgetting where you came from? So can you talk about some of those concepts and just how they impact you personally as Black men in the industry?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
It's a great question. I mean, you know, for us, it was all about like telling honest stories, right? And so like a lot of it's just a byproduct of like, okay, you know, young Black man from West Philadelphia coming into Bel-Air, like what would that actually look like? Like what would that culture clash look like with his cousin, 16-year-old young Black man who lived in Bel-Air his entire life and who spent his time in a lot of white spaces, you know, feeling like on the outside looking in and feeling like he has to assimilate in order to survive and thrive in that environment. What happens when they start having a conversation about certain language that's being used? You see what I'm saying? So it's just, and you know, see what I'm talking about, you know, just like these are, because it's important to have those uncomfortable conversations. And I think when you watch it, it's kind of a painful scene to watch because it's uncomfortable, but it's real. And it's the stuff that a lot of people don't want to talk about. But no, let's bring those issues to the forefront. Let's have those conversations in terms of money and wealth and survivor's guilt. Like those are all things we explore. And, you know, as, you know, just thinking about my career, as I built my career and, you know, there were people I used to run with growing up who maybe took different paths in their life and, you know, having to wrestle with at times feeling like, damn, like feeling guilty because I wish they could be here as well, you know, those types of scenarios. And so there are a lot of the themes within the show that candidly are very cathartic, you know, and it's important to express because in my mind, it's like, well, you know, if this is cathartic for me and maybe allows me to, you know, heal in some measure, right, of some of those feelings, maybe it'll connect with somebody else out there who feels it as well. Maybe it'll inspire someone to say like, no, I can do it too. You know, that's what it's all about. So
yeah, I think we get to see that through the character of Uncle Phil too, like as he's crawling up the ranks, you know, and what it looks like to, you know, be a successful Black man, but also needing the help from your old fraternity that you know, haven't been a part of in a while and what that looks like. I feel like that's very important to talk about. And, you know, he's running for DA now and every question that, you know, people are asking them, they're like, how big is your house? How much money do you make? Da, 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 da. And it's like, are you still connected to your community? Like that's a conversation that we're having throughout the show, which is really important.
It's a huge through line, like, you know, episode 5, when Trey comes out and, you know, reconnects with Will for the first time after the incident. And, you know, very emotional episode. And I think something somebody, you know, a lot of people can relate to of like when you find yourself in a new situation, but you still want to be down where you're from, you know, in that intersection, you know, is very challenging to navigate, right? And so we just want to be real. That's what it's all about. Have real conversations. We tell all of the writers that come into the room, bring your stories, bring real stories, bring your honesty, and know it's a safe place to express that vulnerability. So
I felt it on a number of levels because I grew up in Philadelphia. So at a certain point, my parents made the choice to move us because the neighborhood that I grew up in initially was rough. And a lot of my friends and colleagues were choosing a different path and a lot of them aren't here anymore. And I remember one time being a kid and I was embarrassed because I was kind of a nerd into books and chess club and all that stuff. And I came home crying because the kids were teasing me because they said I was talking white. And so my mom was the president of the home and school. And the next day she came in with her pants like baggy and was like, yo, what's up, to make a point. And I was mortified. But she made the point where it was like, Blackness doesn't look one way. So like proving your Blackness is not something that we should have to do. Just show up the way you are, be your authentic self. And that's the best thing that we can do. So I appreciated those scenes and seeing the parallels between Will's through line and Uncle Phil. So that was really cool to see. Do you guys have a moment where you are looking back at the show now? Like I know for the public, we're only on episode 6. I got to see up until episode 8. Do you have a moment where you look back and you're like, this is my favorite moment in the show so far?
It's tough.
That is really tough.
A lot of great scenes.
It's so it's so
you know, there's a scene coming up in episode 9 that is unbelievable. I'll just put it that way. It's an believable scene. And I won't say who it's between because it's low key kind of a tone spoiler.
Okay.
But golly, like I played it the other day, and on the flight, I was doing some notes on it for post, and you just like thinking about it right now makes me emotional. It's so good, and there's so many. I mean, goodness, in this most recent episode with Jabari and Adrian, in the office, after Will is online, he's getting basically he's getting roasted online, and he's getting cyberbullied, and that what Jabari is so giving. You know what I mean? He's such a giving actor, in the way he's able to express vulnerability and all this wide range of emotions is so dynamic. And I was very, very moved by the performance.
Yeah. Jabari, do you have a moment? I know it's hard. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
no, and I there's a few. I think actually, like that moment between me and Carlton in the locker room, in the scene after that, like that was the scene that was just so electric to film. And then when I saw it, I was like, damn, that was like
Connor
Chad, Brad. Yeah, that scene, because we had been doing that scene like forever. Like we did that scene. That was our like audition scene.
Yep.
And so like when we was time to film it, we were already on it. I knew it was gonna be great. And then watching it, I was like, it's perfect. Because it just expresses how we all felt, like definitely in that moment, like, damn, you really gonna let your white friends say that? Like, you know what I mean? Because like I didn't grow around a lot of white people. I'm definitely not used to white people saying that. You know what I mean? And so like every chance I get to like tell like, oh no, you can't say that, like I will. You know what I mean? And so I felt for Will in that moment. I was like, that's a really powerful scene. That scene and the scene with Will and Phil in the foyer when he's like, I'll give you every opportunity to create the world that you want to create. That was like,
I'll never forget filming that scene.
Yeah.
I will.
I was tough. Yeah.
Little tidbit about that scene. So I remember Jabari, the moment, the apex of the scene in my mind is when Jabari, sheds tears and he says, I can handle mine. I never had no daddy. I've been my own man. And I remember before that moment, and just to show how special Jabari is and what a great toolkit and what a brilliant actor he is. Phil asked him the question, like, do you care if you live or die? And Jabari didn't say a word for almost 2 minutes. And I remember himself, allowing himself to drop into that emotional space, that vulnerability that he was about to express. And I knew after that take, I said, Jabari's going to the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, this dude's gonna have every award you can imagine in his, in his case, you name it. He's got it, and he's the real deal in every way. He's limitless. This man can do anything.
And it's amazing to see. Number one, it's amazing to see the two of you brotherhood just on camera right now. It's really cool to see. But also some of the parallels between you and Will, and just how even your career trajectories right now are very similar in terms of how he started with this show, how you're starting with this show, and really just having these huge shoes to fill. And you're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna jump in both feet and do it. And
what else can you do? What else can I do? Like, I was like, yo, like for real, like after I booked the role, I would say it was like 2 weeks, right? We were filming. So I was like, it wasn't like I really had a moment to.
He had no time to listen. Jabari, 3 days later, it was the hair and makeup test.
Yeah.
He was there at Universal Studio walking on that lot doing our hair and makeup test. And then a week later, we're in Philly.
Yeah.
That's how quickly he was able to adapt to this whole situation. Never looked back. So pretty special.
We've literally been going ever since.
Wow. What was the auditioning process like for you just in the beginning, just kind of even getting the call to have an opportunity to audition for this incredible show?
It was amazing. I was actually sitting on my friend's couch, and I had like sent in another audition. And at that point, I was jaded. I was like, oh my God. Because that was like my 110th, audition or whatever. I don't hear nothing back. And my manager, he's always like, oh, it's gonna happen real soon. I know it's gonna happen real soon. He's sitting over there. That's why I'm looking over here. And I got this call, and he was like, yes, for this character named Will on this show called Bel-Air. And I was like, Bel-Air, Will. I was like, wait, what? So I looked at the call, and I was like, this is me. I was like, wait, hold on. So I immediately locked in, Actually, at that point, I was moving. So I was like moving to New York at the time from Philly. I was living in North Philly, and it was crazy. And it was crazy. So I sent in my initial audition like in July, late July, and then I ended up booking the role August 28th. So yeah, so it was a wild ride of a callback, callback. And actually, I don't know if you've seen the video of Will when Will surprised me, but I actually got onto that. I got onto that call thinking that was an audition because of this dude. They wanted to surprise people. I thought it was a special moment. It was a special moment for sure. I'll never forget that moment. I'm forever grateful for that moment. You know what I mean? Because damn, like, you know what I mean? Like that's my superhero right there. You know what I mean? Like they always say, like, don't meet your heroes. I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like my hero is great. My hero is great, Yeah.
That's amazing. The whole story is just incredible. What do both of you hope that, after this first season, and I'm claiming second season, because if they don't greenlight this, I just there's no
good news. Good news
for you, Charisma, because we're season 2.
Yeah. I was hoping. Yes. So. I was gonna say, if this show doesn't get greenlit, like, what is the process? What is the?
We trying to get that season 3 and 4. That's the goal.
I don't doubt either. But what do you guys hope, after this first season, and then even going into the second season, that folks that are watching and inviting you into their homes with this story, what do you hope that they take away from it?
That's a great question.
Honestly, I just hope that they just leave the show like with just a sense of pride, you know what I mean? Of being your authentic self and seeing Black joy displayed on screen, and a sense of community and a sense of love and a sense of, because it's amazing that we get to see this, family, love each other and then fall apart and then love each other again and fall in love back in love with each other. So I think that's going to resonate with so many people. And I just actually, Jordan just texted me, who plays jazz. He just texted me, like, kids are getting our haircuts because of the show. Like, I met a kid, and he was, and his mom walked up to me and she was like, yeah, he just got a box fade because he loves your show. He plays basketball and he really wants your photos. And that means the world. Like, that's really why we do it. So, I know that's going to be the impact, but I hope that people just walk away feeling a sense of Black excellence. This show is Black excellence personified. We say that all the time.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And it's a show that you can sit down and watch with your family, because I actually do sit down and watch it with my family. So it's pretty cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I know you guys are going to be in Philly tonight ringing the bell. I'll be at the game, so I'll get to see you from afar.
Everybody's in the house.
I know, right?
Come say what's up. Come say what's up.
Exactly.
One last question, Jabari. Are you really nice in basketball, or is that just for the show?
That's cool. I'm like that, yo. I'm really like that. I really hold on, because he's gonna say another thing, because there was one session where I was a little like hungover.
He was hungover,
and
he showed up late. He didn't warm up.
Yeah, it was bad.
So the shots were a little.
Oh, it was broken.
No, let me tell you the truth. Like, Jabari can hoop. Jabari can really, really hoop. Honestly, like he's got a nice handle, nice jumper, good fundamentals. He's fast. He's explosive. Like, he moves really, really well. I told, like, one of his great attributes is body control. Like, he really knows where to put his body and to do certain things in those sequences, in those basketball sequences where we needed, Jabari, you got to hit that turnaround. It's got to feel authentic, and he can do it. So Jabari's a hooper.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
What position do you play? I consider myself athlete, because I used to play basketball, but I have not touched
athlete
in a very long time.
I played the 1 and the 2.
Okay.
I played the 1 and the 2.
I played the 1 or 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta watch Road to Bel-Air, Hoop Dreams.
Yeah.
Road to Bel-Air, Hoop Dreams. There's a whole segment on the Road to Bel-Air on YouTube, and where we just talk about basketball, and it's amazing to see. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Shout out.
Exactly. Shout out to the shooter. Yeah.
Guy. Mike, I don't know if you write that, but shout out Chris Matthews.
Shout out Chris Matthews. Shout out Tyler Curry.
Tyler Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to me today, and I cannot wait for season 2. But before you go, tell folks where they can follow you both and keep up with all of the awesome things that you are going to do in the near future.
Talk to him, Pat.
You can follow me at you can follow me at
it ain't going to be.
You can follow me at Jabari Banks, just like that, JabariBanks on Instagram, and my Twitter is Jabari Banks with an X.
With the X.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, you fancy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's fancy with the X.
Yeah, the X.
And,
what about
on
you?
Instagram and Twitter at Cooper Films. Come holler at me.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll follow both of you. Well, guys, thank you so much again. I'll see you tonight at the game, and I hope you enjoy your time in Philly. Are you guys doing anything fun afterwards?
Thank you.
Maybe.
I'll grab a little drink.
Nope.
You know, I ain't trying to hit the club.
No.
What's up?
Noto's a club. Noto. The table.
Y'all are so funny. I really feel like you should get like a segment that you do like once a week or once a month where it's just the two of you talking and just having your
the plan.
Your brotherhood.
20 years from now, we're gonna start a podcast.
Yeah.
Right. 20 years though? You gonna make us wait for 20 years?
Maybe sooner. We're both busy guys, but this is my little brother right here.
Yeah.
Like this is family, you know, and I think the world of this guy, and any chance we get to just chop it up and talk about life, talk about sports, music, you name it, it is a good time.
It's really seamless. That's the thing too. It's just really seamless. Like off the rip, it was never forced. Like that's why it's love. It's always love, bro.
You can tell. Yeah. You can tell. Well, I don't know you guys personally, but I am very proud of both of you and the work that you're putting out there for us and for the culture. So thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. Like that. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Sun Spotlight. To keep up with Jabari and Morgan and all of the incredible things that they're up to, you can follow them on Instagram at Jabari Banks and at Cooper Films. New episodes of Bel-Air are available on Peacock every Sunday, and do yourself a favor and tune in. It's just as amazing as everyone says. To keep up with me and all that I'm up to, you can follow me on Instagram at The Real Charisma, on Twitter at Real Charisma, and then head on over to my website, realcharisma.com, where you can stream and download my single, All In. While you're online, be sure to like and follow the Philadelphia Sunday Sun on all social media platforms. I'll be back next Thursday at noon with a brand new episode, and I hope to see you there. Until then, love and light.